in on New Year's. Then Series 2 of The Tourist is premiering on BBC One. Now, we absolutely loved the first series of this, which was all about Jamie Dornan, who woke up with zero memory of following a car crash. He couldn't figure out what was going on, why people were after him, who he was, what his backstory was. He didn't know anything. And you can watch all of the first series on iPlayer and kind of get to grips with that. That was all set in Australia in the outback. But the second series moves to Ireland, and with that, a whole new world for Jamie's character, Elliot, to discover. Producer Debbie Ridgard spoke to Jamie Dornan about the show.
Being set in Ireland this time round, it must have been like an easy sell for you.
Yeah, and I was part of that. I've got to admit that, I used whatever power I felt that I had from the sort of being the success of the first show and an exec producer on the second series. And I feel like I could sort of use that a little bit in my advantage to, look, I wasn't even like, listen, guys, you have to be in Ireland. But I was also just sort of strong that I wouldn't be up for doing it if it meant bringing my family all the way back out to Australia again so soon after the first series. Putting the kids back out in school out there, it's a lot. It's a lot for the family to do that again so soon. So when we both, Jack and Harry, as a collective, and myself, all had ideas of how you could continue the story in Ireland. So luckily we were all agreed on that. So it worked out well for me. I was pretty close to home, and I know so many people in Dublin, and I know so much of the crew, and so it was a good time.
When you're taking on roles, you kind of have to create these like core memories and a backstory for this character that you're building. And I suppose taking on Elliot, that's completely wiped away because obviously he has no memory. How was that for you? Like when you were taking that on?
It was really weird. Like it's just I had to approach him differently from how I'd ever approached any other character. There was none of that. And often when you're preparing characters, you're taking all this stuff on. If it's not on the page already, you're creating a backstory and you're creating all kinds of like core elements that made that person who they are and the journey they've been on and his family and whatever it is. And that's all the stuff that he's being denied, and he doesn't know. So actually, it was like a totally different exercise almost. And I actually kind of loved this thing of like, you're often doing all that stuff to kind of then forget about it anyway. It's like have it in your system, and it's not like you're trying to play any of that into your performance, but you sort of need it to then be away with it. It was a strange thing of actually, what I loved about it is it kept you really present. You're like every bit of information he is truly hearing for the first time, and any snippet of the recollection that he has or someone has about him or any lead that he has, it is all just like for the first time. And I guess you're trying to create an element of that acting anyway, but it was like extremely heightened version of that, and I kind of loved it. It kept everything really fresh, I think, for me.
Coming to the end of the year, apart from A Haunting in Venice, of course, did you have a favourite film or TV show that you were like obsessed with?
I loved the second series of Slow Horses. I thought it was really brilliant. Like the first series, but really, really thought the second series just something changed. I don't know. It was just trying to think. Well, my wife and I love the morning show. A lot of people aren't big fans of that for whatever reason. I think it's amazing. I think they're all just like amazing in it. It's that nice thing now. My wife and I are both Academy members, so we get all the screeners. So we're in that great thing. We're just watching like unbelievable movies every night.
I love Jamie Dornan. I just think he's great. He's absolutely great. And he was great speaking to Debbie. And I'm a bit jealous that I didn't do that interview, actually.
Oh, it's a good one to watch over Christmas, though, isn't it? Well, over the New Year. The first one rattles along, and this one's just as good, isn't it?
Globally, Tourist is going to show on Netflix. So this is going to be a really good test to see if the Tourist can kind of break outside of the UK into this like global phenomenon. And so they're going to show both series. They're going to put them both out at the same time. So it'll be interesting to see how the Tourist kind of plays outside of the UK.